This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
Very pleasant good morning. It's 11:08 at WPSL 1590. Talk to the Treasure Coast. Webcaster to the world on TuneIn. Now sneaking into 59 countries is the one and only Jack Waldrop, speaking to us from his palatial penthouse suite at Harborplace.
I don't know about penthouse suite. I'm on the first floor. I can't be in the penthouse if I'm on the first floor.
What are you doing with that Saints jersey on?
Well, yesterday we kicked off our senior Olympics. So we are doing different Olympics for the next 2 weeks, different games every day. Today is cornhole or beanbag toss. So our dress up day to go with it is tailgating. And I am an Alabama fan first and foremost. But I actually do not own an Alabama jersey. I don't know why. But my pro team is the Saints, and so Saints jersey today.
What do you mean your pro team is Alabama?
True. Very, very true.
They may not have an NFL team in that state, but it might as well be.
Very, very true. Very, very true. But I am a Roll Tide fan through and through. And when I'm bored on Sundays, I watch the Saints. So I have a Saints jersey.
I get it. Yep.
No, my parents lived in Alabama for a long time. My mother has been a Saints fan. I'm 40 years old. And as far as I know, she's been a Saints fan my entire life. So
there you go. Yeah. Well, that's nothing like it. I love the environment in the Superdome. A great place. And ironically, it's kind of a special place for me because that was the home of my last ESPN story before I was officially executed there. And it holds a special place in my heart. It was the Chicago Bears and the New England Patriots. Remember Refrigerator Perry and that whole bunch?
Yeah.
Going down Bourbon Street, and on those balconies there were refrigerators out on the balconies. It was great. The Chicago fans are nuts. I mean, it was what a fun time that was.
Yep. I miss being close enough to just drive over there and tailgate out before the game and things like that. So I do miss all that, but
I have yet to take Carol there. I mean, I've been there, I don't know how many times, 20 times, whatever, for Super Bowls and bowl games and stuff like that. Final Fours. I've never taken Carol to New Orleans. So one of these days we'll do that.
You're in trouble because that is a fun time for sure. The food. Oh, the food. Chevy, have you ever been to New Orleans?
No, never been.
Oh, the food and the atmosphere. Oh, and excuse me, I am so horrible. I have not introduced you yet, Chevy, but go ahead and tell us who you are, where you're from, and then all of that fun jazz.
So thank you. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you for having me on here. It's a pleasure. So my name is Siobhan, and I'm from True Care Home Health. We're located in Palm Beach Gardens, actually. We first had our office in Delray, then we've moved into Palm Beach Gardens. We do Medicare patients and we do a lot of private as well. So that's it, really. That about it.
So now do you, and this is good information to know, do you only accept traditional Medicare or do you accept other replacement plans and things of that nature?
The truth is, at this moment, we actually do just Medicare at the moment.
Okay. Yep. And that's actually pretty common. We are finding that apparently at some point in time, there was a huge push for Humana replacement plans here in the South Florida area, because it seems like every single person is on a Humana replacement plan, which it actually, and I'm not saying Humana is bad, so let me make that very clear. It does have its great attributes if you do not live in like an assisted living or something of that nature where you need constant care. But when you get to that point, traditional Medicare actually does more for you. And then you have the Part B, of course, but it does do a lot better having a traditional Medicare and the ability to go and have those services and things. But we're finding that, which is interesting that you as well only take traditional Medicare.
Well, the thing is, I'm actually looking about getting into some of the managed plans.
Yeah.
Because I feel a little bit guilty, like just taking traditional Medicare. And what about all the other patients that do need care?
Sure.
But that's in the making. I'm not there yet, but I'm definitely looking into it.
Okay. And what all services do you provide?
Well, we do, as I said, we do skilled nursing. We provide physical therapy and OT in the homes for patients. We also do the private section. We do have a private section where we have our HHAs and CNAs going to family members' homes to take care of them, doing like a little bit of cleaning, a little bit of washing, a little bit of like everything in the home, basically. And doing hands-on too, like activities of daily living, bathing, toileting. So definitely, that's what we do.
So how old is the company, True Care?
The truth of the matter is, True Care is literally 10 months old, actually.
Wow. Okay.
However, prior to True Care, we had another company called Royal Embrace Care that was opened in 2014. Okay. However, that was based in the Broward area, Fort Lauderdale area.
Gotcha. Okay. I notice a slight Tennessee accent. Is that right?
You know what it is? England, but because I've been here for so long, I've literally lost it.
I love it. I love it. Good stuff. Jack, are you still there? For some reason.
Yes, for some reason it automatically muted. So are you from England?
Correct.
Okay.
So I grown in London, everything. I did all my studies in London. Then I moved actually I've been here approximately 10 years in the US.
Okay. All right. I'm jealous now. I've been to London 7 times and I absolutely love it. The last time I went, I spent the like 8 days I was there. I stayed in Paddington Square, and I had never stayed there before, so it was a little different. But I loved it. I love going on the Eye and just looking out over all of London. Oh, now I'm jealous.
Listen, I'm hoping that you stopped by and did have fish and chips, because when I tell you about fish and chips, love it.
I'm allergic to fish.
What?
Yes.
And you live here on the water?
I do. So in actuality, so the first time I went to England, I actually went to Scotland and England on my first trip out of the country. And so I did try the fish and chips just so I could say I had like a little bite. Now the chips, oh my word, with that sharp cheddar cheese on them. Oh, so good. So good. That is so not on point for what we're on here today. But if you've ever had the chance to go to London or to Scotland, go have the fish and chips. Don't eat at McDonald's. I know that sounds crazy and McDonald's will probably hate me, but the burgers and things at McDonald's and Burger King and things of that nature are not the same. It is not the same type of patty that you will get here in the States. So do not make that mistake. I made that mistake.
I totally agree with you.
Yes. Go find those little hole in the wall pubs, steak and ale pie. Please get some steak and ale pie. I know that sounds crazy.
What did you say? Steak and ale?
An ale pie. So it's like a pot pie is basically what it is. But it has steak and vegetables and ale cooked into it. It's a real rich sauce. Oh,
it's like your thing. Oh, you may want to go back home.
Well, you can go together. I mean, why
Yes.
not? Hey, what the heck?
I
See,
miss it.
Jack, you've got a built-in tour guide here.
I
Yeah,
know.
you
Do you know,
do.
do you know what the sad part is I probably could tour you. I've been all over the place there. I made sure, so I have a theater degree, so I had to go to the Globe Theater and all of that kind of stuff. So I love it. And I've not been able with COVID and the amount of hours we've worked during COVID. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
You know, this is something we've got to plan off air.
Yes, I am with you. I am with you. So getting back to Neveralone and not on our travel station as we were there for a little while. So you're primarily in what counties again right now?
We're actually in Area 9. We're in West Palm Beach County. We're in
Okay.
Martin County, where we cover like Port St. Lucie area, Okeechobee. And in Palm Beach County, we do have like Boca, Delray. We've got
Okay.
Okeechobee, all of those areas, all of West Palm, basically.
Okay. So you have the Treasure Coast and a little bit south, basically.
Correct. We do.
Okay. And your staffing for those areas is doing well. You don't have to worry. You're not having issues with that because that for a while now has been the bane of everybody's existence.
Do you know what? Knock wood, we haven't been having any issues because what I've done to prevent that issue from happening, we're constantly recruiting. We're not just recruiting one
Right.
area, we're recruiting in all of the counties that we do cover. So as I said, Area 9, we do West Palm Beach. So we're recruiting like in every city. Basically, say Delray, we have workers in Delray, we have workers in Boca. Treasure Coast, we have workers all over Treasure Coast.
Okay.
So what I've been doing, and I've been like on it. We haven't stopped. We've been consistent.
Yeah, and that's the key there is being consistent. I know with us, even though we're fully staffed, we're building our PRN staff so that if something were to happen and we lose a staff member, they have that option to go full time or go part time, and that's made a huge difference with keeping up on that staffing because it's unfortunately we're in the day and age where the grass is always greener on the other side for most people, which isn't always the case, and they end up coming back. But I heard a phrase the other day, which is it really stuck with me last week when I was at the Florida Healthcare Association conference, and it said, "Water the grass that you're in." And I thought, you know what? That is so true because we're always looking for a greener grass. But if we would just take the time to water the grass that we're currently standing on, then the grass would be greener where we were. And I thought, you know what? That is a really smart saying. I'm gonna make a picture with grass and you standing.
Wow, that is so cool. Yeah, that's rather deep, actually. It's very good. With IRSC doubling its output of nurses, is that going to help both of you in the long run?
It will for us, for sure, even though we are not, we're a standard license. We're not an ECC license, which means there are certain things that we cannot do because our license doesn't require us to have a nurse 24/7. And so we still, however, staff a nurse. Right now we're at 16 hours a day. During COVID, because of the nursing shortage, we actually dropped the afternoon and the night nurse, but we're slowly picking them back up. So I think as that happens, it will definitely help us. So it's just, and Chevy, I'm sure as you're needing nurses, if they're doubling numbers as well, nurses that want to go into the private side or in the traveling from home to home, that would be the case. But most nurses, when they start doing that, they've worked somewhere, and I could be wrong, they've worked in offices or things like that to kind of gain the experience. Because going into someone's home is a little bit different than just working at an office and doing wound care and doing those sorts of things.
You know what, you're right, Jack. It's very, very different for a lot of nurses. And what I've noticed with our nurses coming in for jobs now is that they've been very like burnt out basically. And it's like they just can't be bothered at the moment. And we're actually like trying to like hold on to our nurses basically. But what we've done so far is like hire mostly LPNs.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of business requires a lot more CNAs and HHAs than actual registered nurses. I'm a registered nurse myself, and
Mm-hmm.
I do understand, and I'm able to understand how the nurses are feeling, and actually how the CNAs are feeling too. Another thing that we've done to retain our staff is that we don't do like 1099s really. We really do W2s, and
Oh,
we
wow.
program where we talk to our workers, our employees to say, okay, no matter how young you think you are at the moment, old age is definitely catching up on all of us if we're not taken out before then. Therefore, it's very essential to make certain plans. So we do provide that kind of education. And as I stated, we do employee instead of 1099 contractors.
Oh, yeah. I mean, having them as an employee, I mean, they have a lot more, depending on your company size, then there are certain things you have to provide, which does retain employees a lot longer than 1099s, because
Correct.
especially with the 1099, I don't like it. I've done that once in my life. I'll never do it again, because I mean, you have to keep up with so much, doing your own taxes and the risk of messing something up and getting audited. Nope. No, thank you. No, thank you. Nope. So, well, that is awesome. And I love that you are in such a broad area, because a lot of times people they only do specifics. We only do Port St. Lucie, or we only do St. Lucie County, and we only do Martin County. The fact that you have such a broad area, even our listeners that are here may have family members or friends that live in Martin County, or all the way I say all the way, 45 minutes to West Palm. It's not like it's that far, in West Palm, and in those areas. So I think this is great that you do have such a variety of locations.
Well, Jack, to be honest with you, in regards to the different locations, whenever applying for a license, licensing hardly gives you actually one county. I think it's mostly of a preference for agencies to be like, you know what,
Gotcha.
even though we're licensed for nine, for the
Mhm.
ninth, whatever, like for the different areas, they're like, no, I'm just gonna stay in Port St. Lucie. I cannot be bothered to go all the way to all of Area 9. We're not gonna cover all of Area 9. So I think sometimes it's mostly for preferential purposes.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, and to each their own, I guess. That to me doesn't sound like a very smart business plan,
Exactly.
but only staying in one county, because I mean, unless you don't want to grow and you want to have a small business, then that's fine. But I do, and the experience that you can draw from, what if all of your staff in St. Lucie County are booked and you have another case, you can pull from other areas to make sure that case is taken care of. So, I mean, I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's funny that you said that. Did you know just today, I literally had to pull from West Palm Beach to cover cases in Stewart today, just today.
Yeah,
So
it
you're on point.
happens.
You're on point.
Yeah, it happens. And that's not a bad thing. And that means your caseload is increasing.
Definitely.
And so the better the caseload you have, and not just the better the business is, it shows that you're progressing and that everyone likes the services that you provide, and your word of mouth and things of that nature are keeping you alive. And so many times it's, well, I don't want to go with them. I don't want to go with True Care. I don't know who they are. Well, guess what? Find out your information. Don't just go with someone just because, I used them 15 years ago and they were great. Let me tell you, everybody that's listening, we are living in a different world than we lived 2.5 years ago. Everything is different. The clientele is different. I know specifically for us, I'm sure it is for you as well. We're in an unprecedented world when it comes to how things and how people are taken care of, and the needs that are being met, and the needs that are being presented. Because COVID has done a 180 on things, for us, in assisted living, we're finding that we're having higher acuity residents, and those because residents stayed at home during that 2-year period because everybody was scared to go to an assisted living or to nursing and things of that nature. And so now they have declined much further and are not as active as they could have been if they would have come in 2 years ago, even with the COVID going on.
True
So
story.
I'm sure it's the same thing with you. You're finding that it's still people who are wanting to stay home as long as they can. And it is making the need for home health agencies and PT and in-house PT, OT, all of those are starting to skyrocket more now because of the need.
And you talk about the COVID situation. I mean, that's the way with the kids too. I mean,
Yeah.
you keep talking. Carol and I have been talking with like St. Lucie County School District, and you hear absolute horror stories about how they're trying to get these kids caught up because they were
Not
working
being
at
in the
home.
classroom. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Whether it's even some simple stuff like socialization.
Yeah.
It's like they're relearning that stuff. It's like, oh my
Look, I'm
goodness.
scared to death because one of my friends here, her 16-year-old daughter, had to take her driving test. And do you know that the proctor does not even sit in the car with them anymore when they take their driving test? Your parent sits in the car, they call you on the phone, you drive around the parking lot while they're on the outside giving you directions on what you need to do. The parent cannot speak or you immediately fail. But I'm like, these people are going to be driving on the roads. That scares me.
That's mortifying.
Again, the world, we're in an unprecedented time frame of things that are changing, and I'm not saying that all changes have been bad, because I think a lot of them have been good. The fact that Medicare continues to pay for televisits, I think is fantastic. Televisits was not a thing. I mean, here and there prior to COVID, but it's great for those that have mobility issues, that it just have a cold and it's too hard for them to get out and go to the doctor. So, I mean, I think is a good thing. It's not always a bad thing, but it's one of those things that some of them I'm scared of.
All right. That driving situation is definitely scary.
Right.
I think that's dangerous than anything else. It's worse than COVID.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Can you imagine you're driving? Do you know what? In London, we're not allowed to drive and speak on the phone. Okay.
Yep.
Can you imagine driving as a new driver, taking instructions from a phone?
No.
Ooh, that's an interesting thought too.
No, but I will say, I mean, think about days, all of us, we didn't have GPS. I learned how to read a map. And when I had to go on trips, I remember driving from my home to Alabama, which was a 3-hour drive to go to college. And I had to read a map to get through the back roads, to get to the interstate, to get me to where I needed to be. So, I mean, imagine it in some ways, listening to a GPS, much safer than driving, looking at a map, trying to figure out where you are. But again, like you said, getting instructions from someone standing on the outside of the car. I don't know that I could have parallel parked with someone giving me directions to parallel park on the outside of the car.
Gotcha. Me too.
That's nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Look, we're going off on major tangents today, but that's okay. Our listeners love us.
Yeah. The question is, Chevy, are you still driving on the right side of the road?
No.
It's confusing.
I
was confused.
We were there, I think, with the Chargers or 49ers. I can't think of which one it was, but yeah, I mean, the first time I saw it, I said, they're coming at us, I said, no, don't worry about it. We're on opposite sides of the road.
Yep. It is. So Chevy, I know we're about halfway through. So go ahead and tell us again. We like to kind of recap who's with us, who you are, where you're from, what you do, all that kind of fun stuff. So go ahead and give us a recap again about your company, what you do, where you're located, and then we'll kind of repeat ourselves. I know that sounds crazy, but we'll do some more stuff.
That's okay. So again, I'm Siobhan with True Care Home Health. We're located in Palm Beach Gardens. We cover the West Palm Beach area. We do cover the Treasure Coast area. And I'm a nurse. I'm the founder and the owner of True Care Home Health. And we do have employees. Majority of our CNAs and HHAs all of them are employees. Our nurses are employees. We provide physical therapy and occupational therapy in the home.
Okay.
Chevy, how do we get in touch with you?
Okay. I will be putting out my number. So anybody can call me at like 754-242-4448. 754-242-4448. And I'll definitely be putting my card in the chat.
Perfect. Yeah. Because they do a great job of because we record and they go in and he puts it on the website as well. So putting in the chat that way they can see it would be fantastic.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. And so we've been talking a little bit. So insurance wise, you do take straight Medicare and you are looking at going towards those managed. Thank you. I couldn't get the word, was not coming out of my mouth. The managed care.
We do take straight Medicare and we also do private care, which I notice a lot of people are not doing, like private care along with Medicare. So there you go.
Yeah, and unfortunately, and it's not a misconception. It's true. Private care can be very expensive, depending on the company that you go with, the amount of hours that you need that private care, and the things that they do. So, can you talk a little bit, because I know that is a big thing, kind of about the private care, what that offering is. You don't have to go into pricing if you don't want to, but just how all that's figured.
Okay, you know what, Jack? You touched a very, very, very important point here. I find that a lot of residents are having so much issues in doing private care. Not that they don't need it. I'm telling you, a lot of patients do need it in their homes, but it's very pricey. It becomes very expensive. And this is what I would suggest to a lot of our residents or patients, sorry. I'd like do the living care, because having somebody living in for like 24 hours, it's a lot cheaper than doing an hourly rate. Hourly rate, most times CNAs or HHAs are going into your homes for 12 hours to assist you with everything. Your little cooking, your washing, your cleaning, your toileting, and also your shopping. That can turn out to be very expensive. So a lot of times the cheapest way to do this is doing live-in. And it does get very expensive.
It does. And at one time, I mean, I haven't researched it and looked at prices. And when we talk to families that are considering doing a live-in or a private aid, as opposed to coming to an assisted living, which you can do less hours of a private aid if you'd go to assisted living. But it was anywhere upwards of $6,000 and $8,000 a month, depending on how much you used that private aid.
Okay, I can give you a ballpark. Okay. Starting is $25 normally, or $24 depending, to $32 on an hourly basis. Okay. Now, if you should do that 24 hours, basically it's going to run you like $7,000 or so per. A matter of fact, not 24 hours, but if you should do that every single day, 7 days per week, 12 hours per day, that's going to run you like $7,000 probably. So it does get a bit expensive than living in an assisted living like these days.
Yeah.
And you find that, I don't know if you've noticed it, but Jack, majority of the people that are retiring right now, there's no money.
No. We have seen an uptake of residents that have long-term care insurance, because the ones that have it now, because there's a big push for it, for a while there. And then they realized they were going to lose money with the long-term care costs. And so we are finding an uptake of those residents who are coming in who are using that. And, you know, to touch on that for just a second, if you have long-term care insurance, you know, good policies, I've seen them pay up to $200 a day, and some as low as $50 a day. But if you have that, don't wait to use it. Let me just say that. Don't wait to use it. Most of your better plans do not have a cap. You know, you have it for the length of time that you're using it, depending on how much you've paid in, all that kind, all the copays, things like that. But the ones that do, go in and figure it. You know, if you're 94 years old, still at home, you're still pretty active, you still can do things on your own, and your policy pays $200 a day, move. Find an assisted living somewhere where you can still be independent, having the things you want to do. Sell your house, put everything in savings. You know, most of those plans are going to pay at the slightest for 10 years, and some as low as 5. But when you hit 80, start looking. You know, get that independence, get that little bit of help so you can maintain the independence as long as you can, and let that policy that you have paid for all these years do what it's meant to do.
And you notice, Chevy, that Jack was looking straight at me when he said that.
Jack.
No, I do know that you have a long-term care policy, but
Yes.
you're not there yet.
Another thing too, I'd love to touch on the long-term care policy to those who are too. Just bear in mind that the long-term policy is not used until you activate it. Another thing too, if this is a policy that you're getting as Jack said, like $200 or so per day, yes, definitely move. Another thing, you could keep some of that money and save it too. You don't have to pay everything out. So not using it, it's not beneficial. Using it and saving some of the money, maybe you don't need to use all of that $200 every single day. You could put it in your account to save, and then when it runs out for a little bit, you can go back to that money and utilize it.
Yep. So what she's referring to is, so if you have a private aid or a company that's coming in to help you at home, and it pays out $200 a day. So it's one or the other. It either doesn't pay or it pays out. So if you don't use the full $200 a day, banking that money so that if you needed to go somewhere, you still had the ability to use it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And it is, you know, the thought process of, well, it's there if I need it. Imagine how much money you have wasted over the years if you don't use it and something happens to you and you pass away. All of that money has been wasted because they're not going to pay it out. It's not a life insurance policy. So make sure that you're using those policies. And there are some policies that, depending on an independent living, now, like for us, we have weekly housekeeping, we have laundry services that we provide, 3 meals a day. We are very unique as independent living. Most don't offer 3 meals a day, you know, all of those sorts of things. So we actually do things that can consider, for some policies, a payout option. So just make sure you're doing your research when you start looking at things, because, you know, like I said, use it. Don't let it just sit there.
Mm-mm.
And it is available if you're having those aides come into your home. That's another thing that people don't understand. You just have to show what those aides are doing for you when they're in your home. It's signed off on by the company that's providing it. You turn it in, the insurance, that long-term care policy tells you, yes, we accept these options. We understand that's going on, and they pay you for what's going on. Use the services that you've paid into.
Wow. This is really enlightening because I never knew that.
Yep.
You know, I never knew that. I've been paying into it, since the 70s, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like I said, imagine all that money if something happens to you or Carol, and because I'm sure you both have policies.
Yep.
And so if something happens to Carol, she doesn't ever go to assisted living or anything, all that money's gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something to think about because you're right. It's not life insurance.
Nope. No.
Life insurance company, but it's it's not life
Right.
insurance.
Yeah.
Wow.
So just everybody needs to keep that in mind. Look at your policies. 99.9% of them do not have a payout at death. So look at your policies, figure out how much money you have put into it over the years, what its length of term is once you start it, and really start using those services.
I'm going to go home and look at the policy. I'll bet it's probably been 30 years since I looked at it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
You call Jack.
That's it.
call me. And if you don't want to move into an assisted living yet, then I will send you to Chevy's way. That way she can help you get some in-home care provided, and still be able to use that service. So, that's what we do. And so many people think that we're just here to move people into our buildings. This sounds horrible. I had someone accuse us of being a used car salesman. And that's not the case. When someone, even if you don't choose us, we follow up with you like every 6-9 months to a year, because we want to make sure that you're happy with the services you're getting provided somewhere else, and that you as the resident or as the loved one are truly being taken care of. We just want the best for whoever, no matter where you go, because we may not be the person for you. Chevy may not be the home health agency for you, because not everything is the same no matter where you go. But we want to make sure that you are happy with the decision you made. And is there anything else that we can help you with? It's a one-on-one personal connection. It has nothing to do with the fact that we're trying to fill a building. I may not even have the room size that you want, but we're following up to make sure that your loved one is being taken care of.
Wow. That says it all. That really says it all. And, and I think what impresses me with you, Chevy, is the fact that you are a nurse. And the fact that it's a big thing being an employer as we are, that you've got employees and not 1099.
Yeah.
That is huge.
It's dedication. It holds accountability to your employees. If they're a 1099, they are literally just there. You don't have a whole lot of control other than to terminate someone or terminate a contract. So it does, and I would think, hold your staff to a little bit more accountability as well.
Another thing for me too, as being a nurse too, this is not just any business. This is just not just another home health care company just popping up. Right. This is something deep. This is something from the heart. We care. I believe in adding years to life and life to years. We're not, every patient that True Care gets, I make sure I personally see them sometimes. As a matter of fact, we do a lot of following up. Following up is so essential.
Yes.
If a patient is admitted to True Care, within 2 weeks, somebody from the office, whether it be myself or somebody else, will be following up. We check to see what kind of care they're receiving. If it's not good, we're going to fix it.
Yeah.
We don't just leave it. Every complaint, we deal with it. There's nobody perfect. And there's no way everything's going to be perfect. However, we try your best to add years to life and life to years. It's serious.
Life to years and years to life. I love that saying. I'm not stealing your marketing tool. I just love that saying.
Oh, yes, you are. I see you writing.
No, I love it. No, I do. I really love it.
That is marvelous.
It's so true. That's what we're here for. Even us, we're here. We don't want you to give up your independence. No. Assisted living, though it has changed over the past couple of years, the whole goal behind assisted living is to assist you with your daily acts of life. We're not a nursing home where you're confined to your room or you're confined to a bed. Now, do we have cognition issues? Of course, that's a big reason why people come to assisted livings, is because the cognition issues are there, and their loved ones, or they see it in themselves that they need a little extra help. But that is all we do. We're here to help. You have rights that we have to maintain, all of those sorts of things. So I just love that saying, life to years and years to life.
Yes. And we are an accountable company. As I told you, just said, we're not perfect. We're very accountable. We
Yeah.
do constructive criticisms because we do want to provide better care at all times. And that is the reason why we have employees and not 1099s, because everybody's screened and everybody attends an orientation. Expectations are laid out. And
Yeah.
at that point, you can decide whether or not you want to work with us or you don't.
Yep. And thank goodness we're finally at a point in this crazy staffing crisis that we have been in, where we can say, look, this is what we do. If you cannot provide this, and this with every single resident that you come in contact with, if you can't smile at them because you've had a bad day and you can't overlook that, this is not the right place for you. We are in their home. They're not in our place of business. We are in their home. Same as y'all do. We treat them as their apartments. This is their home. We're there to help them, and you better remember that.
You know what? Thank you, Jack. I'm going to just jump in for one more minute. Another thing that I do share with my employees and everybody around, we give the Disney effect.
Yeah.
So at all times, we're smiling with our patients at home. We're never showing a sad face. It's never ever supposed to happen. Whatever issues we have at home, it stays at home. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we're always given the Disney treatment. I've never seen anybody at Disney mean.
No. Sometimes they're obnoxiously happy.
Wow.
And I follow kind of a Ritz-Carlton model. Early in my career in the hospital, we had a rule where if you were within 10 feet of someone, it didn't matter who it was, you spoke. You said hello, whether it be a patient that was in the hospital, another coworker you may not even know, because as we know in hospitals, there's people everywhere, but you had to speak. And so I've always adapted that same model in the buildings that I've run, because yes, we may be busy as all get out and we're passing each other in the hallway. But if you're taking the time to stop and speak, or at least say hello on the way by, then that means everybody is communicating within the company. Everybody in the building feels warm and welcome. And it doesn't feel like you're snobbing someone when you walk by, when someone else sees the interaction. And so it's that same philosophy, with Disney, everybody's happy, everybody's smiling. And so I love it. I think it's great.
Thank you.
So little things that we have going on, Greg, because I know you're going to ask me what type of activities that we have going on soon. And our big thing is our Super Bingo the date has dropped. And that is going to be in September 22nd, because we do it once a quarter. Excuse me. Thursday, September 2nd, 1:30 to 3 o'clock. You might want to go ahead and start RSVPing. The spots are limited. We have been, this last time, we squeezed every single person that we could squeeze into the room. And so I will venture to say, as we get into this one and even our one in the last quarter of the year, we will not have space if you do not RSVP. So get that in there. We give away some great prizes that are donated from great companies, such as Chevy's. It is great. It is $1 a card to play. We play 5 games, and then that money is distributed to all of the winners. We don't keep any of it. We don't have anything to do with that. So we are just facilitating all of that for those that are playing. So it is a fun time. We like to have a good time. But that is coming up in September.
And the first 20,000 will get their reservations in, right?
And the other thing that we have started is we do a monthly open house and brunch. We had it this past Saturday. It was great. We had several families. I think I counted about 8 new families that I had not seen before that was here having brunch and then touring the campus. It's just meant to open our doors to the public a little bit more than what we have been doing. And so those are going to be next month. It'll be the last Saturday of the month. And that is from 11 to 2. And so it'll be going forward the last Saturday of every single month. We'll have that open house and brunch. So that you're welcome to attend. That's going to be great. And I am happy to announce that towards the end of the month, we will have a soft reopening of our bistro to the public. We will start having our paninis and soups and gourmet desserts and all of that fun stuff for sale out of the bistro. And our gift shop is being reorganized to be reopened as well. And so we are really looking forward to that with a hard opening, hopefully the first week of September. So I will get it out there as quickly as I can. We're working on flyers and stuff now about that reopening of the bistro. And so we are very, very excited. Chef Sylvia is putting together a wonderful little deli type menu, cold sandwiches, hot sandwiches, paninis, soups, all of those fun salads, those fun things. It's not going to be gourmet meals. Okay. You're not going to be able to come in and have your spaghetti and meatballs out of the bistro. It is going to be sandwiches, soups, handheld type things. So we're looking forward to that. We can't wait for it to open up again and share that with the community.
Boy, and yeah, I remember those soups were killer. I mean, they were great. And so, we have to get Chef Sylvia to come in and do a commercial on the bistro. I think that would be very cool.
Oh, she'd kill me. She would kill me if I tried to put her on the radio. She is not that type of person.
Hey, that's all right. You and the chef together. I think that would be very cool.
Yes. And Sylvia does a great job. She has really done wonders for our dining room, not necessarily changing our menus, but making them taste phenomenal. Last night I actually took a meal home. We had beef stroganoff and it was really, really good. So that's one thing I can say about our dining team is we had some problems there with servers there for a little while because we don't work on tips in an assisted living and independent living. So it makes it a little bit harder for people to come in and do serving. But we did a push to hire 16 to 24-year-olds. And we hired, I think we have 6 or 7 16-year-olds that work the evenings and weekends, like that. This is their first job, and it brings them into the world of what assisted livings and independent livings are. And they're just working in the dining room, and residents love them. We did have some difficulty to begin with because they're 16. It's their first job. They're learning how to be servers, but we're slowly but surely getting there between trainings and doing different types of things with them. But we are excited for Sylvia and the reopening of our bistro. And that will be, like I said, that's coming hopefully by the 3rd week of August. We were shooting for the 2nd week, which is next week. But we're going to do a soft opening with some very specific invitations. And then we'll do a hard opening 1st of September for the public.
That is so cool. Stupid COVID thing has just, created havoc, and you think we're talking 3 years later, that this is all just starting to come back. And
it is.
That's wonderful.
We benefited from COVID and did a renovation in there. So while we had the ability while it was closed to the public, we did do some renovating in there with some paint, new granite, countertops all throughout there, new appliances, new holding areas, all of that kind of stuff. So we are very excited. We added a sidewalk that comes through the outside patio right there. So you don't have to come all the way through the building if you don't want to. So it's exciting, and it's gonna be great. So if you're interested in anything that we have ever going on here, please make sure to visit our website. And that is, it's really long. I'm gonna give you both ways to get there first. So you have www.pts, so Port Saint, PTST, Lucy, Harborplace.com, or you can just go to centurypa.com, go to Florida, pull up Harborplace. That is the easier way to do it because that's a long way. You can give us a call, 772-337-4330, and you can RSVP. The concierge can tell you anything that's going on in over the next few months. And if you want to take a tour, you can go on that same website and request a tour, request information, or give us a call. Myself, Pat, who is our sales director, who is amazing. She is probably the hardest salesperson I have ever worked with, makes amazing connections with families. And that's what it's all about. We're here to love on your loved one and connect with you so that you feel welcome and at home when you walk through the doors here at Harborplace. So those are your two ways to get a hold of us. I know I got to talk clap. We're very fast. We're running out of time, but phone number 772-337-4330, or on the internet, go to our website, centurypa.com, go to View Florida, because we are all over the 50 states, View Florida, and then our Port St. Lucie community. And that will be able to get you to our website, and you can see all kinds of information about us.
And if somebody calls you and says that they want a tour, you can do that as well, right?
We do. We tour 7 days a week. And if you need to come in the evenings, we make adjustments for that so that someone's here to tour you as well.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Jack and Chevy. Thank you. Nice meeting you. And True Care Home Health. And thank you both for being here. And Jack, we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank y'all.